Hey there, and welcome to this installment of coverage from The Big One, which is a tournament, a charity tournament put on by The Final Swindle, care of Karen and Zaramis. So without further ado, you should see on your screen the matchup for this particular game. And if you want further details, they'll be in the video description below. Let's hop into it.
All right, CodWag versus Zaramis. This is for all the marbles. Whoever loses this game is going home with $96 USD. Whoever wins going home with about 144 USD. And of course, Zaramis has never won this matchup in practice. Swede on Swede battle.
Lycka-till. I assume that means good luck in Swedish or something. So they're probably just swearing at each other right now. Like...
Yes, if the Swedes could give us a kind and honest translation that not lied to us, so that we're saying terrible things on screen here. But I would, but Lycka-till, and also if we're saying it right, can look up a pronunciation.
Oh, I'm 100% saying it wrong. 100%. There's no way. Although I have listened to a lot of Movits, which is a Swedish swing jazz hip hop group. Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have seen both these decks. Helena, the absolute slog deck, Tower Peacemaker, doesn't actually seem like much of a Peacemaker. And then Celrus, the Scavenger Herald, who seems to just scavenge Ember in keys. So let's see how this works out. Zaramis starting things off with the classic turn 1 auto encoder. You love to see it.
So we're going to see what Zaramis, of course, we're going to be looking at what does Zaramis purge with Infernus, Eye of Judgment, and Eaton's Jar as they go along, right? I'm guessing an Eaton's Jar for Nature's Call.
I'm going to guess that
would
too.
Be my best guess. But if Zaramis, or if CodWag, or excuse me, if Zaramis picks something else, let's just assume that's the better call.
Algernon says, "Go Sweden, go Sweden."
Yes, very, very exciting. Very exciting here. CodWag opening with Shadows, Silvertooth, Bad Penny, and a Reap.
Interesting.
What is Zaramis?
A little bit of hand shaping, I suppose. One card each on both of those. I did for yeah. So this deck does have the Seeker Needle, right? Yeah, it does. So a little bit of synergy there with the Bad Penny.
Yeah, you don't want to risk some of your tools in between turns, so sometimes it's good. Well, I've got these. Let me just get this out of my hand, see what I draw, see what I draw into. We've got Eye of Judgment coming out. Excellent. So one of the I will shape my opponent's deck to my whims tools that Zaramis uses. Lord Golgotha, discarding Burning Glare.
To the auto encoder. That's what it is.
To the auto encoder, to the auto encoder archive. So then Mother, Interdimensional Graft. So really shaping an untamed hand. Absolutely shaping an untamed hand here. Mother helping out.
Yes,
to get that extra card.
Looks like Zaramis going back into Sanctum.
It's just a wind up.
Yeah,
it's just a wind up. You just see CodWag is just over there, churning their fists until they decide to launch.
You know it's coming. So
welcome
second
to Dragon Ball Z. CodWag is just gathering the Untamed logo in between their hands. It's glowing green.
We got the Burning Glare getting discarded again to the auto encoder. Lord Golgotha clearing the board with a little help from the Ardent Hero and a damage pip. Lord Golgotha just so good. I love Lord Golgotha. What a great fight ability.
Gormovom, then Eye of Judgment to purge the Mother. There is that deck shaping. There is that deck shaping. Not a whole lot of high impact choices except for the Mother, right? Silvertooth can be good. Mother, of course, I think totally the right call here.
If you're Zaramis, you're probably pretty happy to have Lord Golgotha down if you're expecting an untamed turn. Although at the same time, if you're CodWag, you got three. You still have three Nature's Calls accessible and usable. So let's see. We got Pawn Sacrifice. Very nice to put some damage down. Ghostly Hand
triggers.
Gets a hit off of Ghostly Hand and passes turn. And does discard the Bad Penny. Says I'm not interested in continually drawing that Bad Penny. Looks like we're going to see a Logos turn from Zaramis. The Titan Engineer coming down, going to get some Ember control value off of the Titan Engineer, increasing both players' key cost by 1. Double Daughters out, discards the Munch Sling, but keeps the Quick Sew. So interesting decision there. Not saying it's wrong or anything, just very interesting. Very similar creatures, I guess. Looking, I suppose, would prefer to have the fight draw than the kind of weird munchling ability, if I'm being honest. Let's see how CodWag responds. Hey, I think you're right. We're got to be building towards some type of untamed turn. One struggle here is that Zaramis has a pretty decent sized board, so Nature's Call is only going to do so much against a board like that, and it's only 2 houses, which is also fortunate for Zaramis. Not going to be like picking up 3 creatures from 3 different houses.
Yeah. And we've got half of our Louisa May Alcott book written here with 2 of the daughters out. This is probably Joe and Meg, I want to say, by just the vibe these cards are giving off. We're going to see Amy and Beth probably a little bit later here. What? No, I don't have the Little Women wiki up. That's ridiculous. Mindfire hitting Dew Fairy. A good hit. That Dew Fairy certainly helpful when it lives.
Here's the Eaton's Jar. There it is.
Yes. All right. Is it Nature's Call? Let's see.
Ooh, Word of Returning.
Word of Returning. Now remember, Zaramis knows how to Eaton's Jar here. You know what it is? It's so that
the Pandemonium.
It's so that Pandemonium works. It's so that Pandemonium works, because with a ton of creatures, Pandemonium is gonna be a major amber control. Oh,
that
brilliant.
Is so good. I feel so dumb watching these games, to be honest.
Because
I just like
the Nature's Call is either a little bit of board control or a lot of Amber Burst. So instead of just getting rid of one of the things that can cause Amber Burst, you get rid of the response to how you take control after they burst. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Wow.
And we have seen just the amount of value that Pandemonium causes. So protecting that ability, and Word of Returning turns into with something like Pandemonium turns into pretty potent board control as well. So very interesting.
With so many creatures out, unless CodWag really starts to clear the board, Zaramis here is going to be able to reap out, and with all those artifacts too. That's 8 cards in hand, 6 in discard, 9 in draw pile. They're going to see that Pandemonium again by the time CodWag actually explodes at a critical point where they need to use Pandemonium.
Sure.
Right? Especially with the daughters, if they can get 2 more daughters out. There goes the Word of Returning.
And the Hunting Witch has been deployed. We got a regrowth to pick up that Dew Fairy. The Ancient Bear takes down a daughter with the assault damage, and Nature's Call was played. So it didn't end up being a particularly potent Untamed turn. At least given the amount of crafting we'd seen so far, I sort of expected a little bit more. But again, the Word of Returning hit is a pretty good disruption there. Oh, yes. and Commandeer for Zaramis. So so another reason that Word of Returning is a good thing to get rid of. Lord Golgotha doing Lord Golgotha things, clearing out the Dew Fairy and Hunting Witch with great ease. The Ancient Bear being taken down by the Ardent Hero. Of course, the Ardent Hero not taking any damage because Ancient Bear is 5 power or higher.
Purging Hunting Witch with that Eye of Judgment. Yep. Taking out that burst tool.
And this is so great because we've seen this before, right, with Zaramis, and just the way this deck works. Look at Zaramis sitting on 0 keys, 1 ember.
Just like their opponent.
just generating this absolutely brutal board, dealing slowly and methodically taking apart their opponent's deck. So far, targeting some board control, also getting rid of like the ghostly hand is that's just kind of nice. A little bit of ember control, and it's tough to deny the 2-for-1 ember pips on that. So yeah, this is kind of seems like more of the same of what we've seen so far. But happy to see a level of consistency with how Zaramis plays this deck.
Certainly.
Okay,
Moon coming out. There's Nature's Call without a Hunting Witch. Well, they'll get to bounce a couple things here.
Mm-hmm. Now, it's pretty nice too, because now that Zaramis has 3 different houses on the board, kind of nice that you can stuff up their hand a little bit. Let's see what CodWag decides to do.
Yeah.
K-March says, would be tremendously impressive if CodWag gets out of this. It definitely does look tenuous at best. And that a lot of that just has to do with the fact we've seen Zaramis do this twice before.
Right.
So it's kind of like just inevitable, I feel like. Algernon says Helena is a disgusting deck to play against. It's also a disgusting deck to watch. So, but I'm glad we're watching it and I'm not playing against it.
Yeah. Back over to Zaramis. Quixo fighting Murmook, getting it off the board, drawing a card. Daughter coming out, sloppy lab work. Gonna get some auto encoder value here. With Zaramis still, there's 5 amber between our 2 players. But from what we've just seen Zaramis being able to keep CodWag down to next to nothing while building up this board, while cycling, while setting up an archives, getting all of the artifacts out, purging cards here and there, calling a great card with Eaton's Jar. Yeah. Really just saying, actually, hey, like, we're not going to play KeyForge yet. I'm going to set up the game to my advantage, and then we can play a little bit later.
Yeah.
That's what Zaramis is doing.
Except for they're setting up 2 different games. You know, Zaramis is setting up like some intense game of I don't know, some huge, like some game of Risk that's happening. It's just, yeah, it's really remarkable how patient Zaramis plays this. You know, I certainly would have played other houses before doing all this just to generate Ember, but you know, and we've, again, just going back to it, such a cool deck to see piloted, and a testament to how different any given KeyForge deck can be. You have to get at least 2 keys before it gets to the state, so it does indeed feel over. Was a coin flip of owning Helena. Oh, it was a display you shared. Oh, nice. So this deck came down to a coin flip. Did you all know like the potential of the deck when it was opened, or was it something that was kind of developed? I mean, did you know it was something special at the outset, or was it kind of something that after some play it became obvious, or became clear that it had some real plays to it?
Yeah, CodWag with a bit of a Shadows turn here, getting some artifacts on the board and a Lights Out, not feeling like they're getting enough value out of each turn to really do much, against Zaramis here. Picking up, I believe, did they just pick up their archives? Yeah, picked up their archives, 12 cards in hand, got an Infernus, purging Nature's Call and Word of Returning.
Wethel always seems to let Zaramis take the strongest deck. It goes down to the coin flip. Yeah, and it's interesting because it seems like CodWag's deck is definitely geared much more towards like high burst, you know, trying to generate a lot of Ember very quickly. Whereas, you know, the juxtaposition of Zaramis's deck, which is just like, I'm not really going to generate any Ember, or maybe I'll generate like 1 or 2 a turn for the first half of the game, and then at some point a switch is flipped, probably very soon, I would suspect. Yes. And then that changes. My, that's a board. That right there is a board if I've ever seen one. Interesting. Word of Returning is actually purged, but
it is.
Did I miss some? Oh wow, this is cool. So Gorm of I think was just used to kill the Eaton's Jar prior to a reshuffle. So now, presumably, what can happen is that Eaton's Jar can be redeployed now that the Infernus was used to kill the Word of Returning. So this is something we haven't seen before. But a cool use of the Gorm of Om in the deck.
Eaton's Jar phase 2.
Yeah.
A Positron Bolt against this board just kind of feels funny.
Yeah, it's like, all right. It does some damage to the Snorat. That's better than nothing, I guess.
Yeah. I'm going to excuse myself for a moment because I think
certainly.
my wife is out of the house and there's a dog sounding very distressed outside. So I will be right back.
Excellent. Good luck. I can take it from here. All right, so it looks like we're back into a Logos turn, and boy, if no daughters was not enough, well, 3 daughters I certainly hope is enough. But there's always room for one more. What do we got here? Nature's Call, save the pack. Okay, to clear out some stuff, and then we have double Nature's Call to return absolute slew of creatures to hand. Including the likes of Daughter, Quixo, Brabble, and Brabble. So removing some of those threats from the board. But Zaramis definitely has a lot of stuff in hand right now. So it doesn't seem like it's going to matter what turn they take. There's going to be a lot of stuff that gets played. And we do indeed see a Sanctum turn, and wow, that hurts. The Commandeer comes down to that's just brutal. Commandeer comes down, so it looks like CodWag is going to be denied that first key, and we see the standard get discarded to the autoencoder. Burning Glare. It is really interesting. Zaramis opts to discard these Burning Glares. Even though they have an ember. I mean, I think I understand the standard, perhaps. It has an ember, but you have to exalt a creature, which is maybe something that is a little more than you would want. And
I think they just don't want to give any edge with the interdimensional graft, just because is, unless that is in discard. Oh no, interdimensional draft is in discard. So.
It is in discard.
Not a threat currently.
But we did see Zaramis do that beforehand as well. With the two in a row, and I don't recall if that at that time if there was something there, but
the archiving is probably more valuable.
Yeah, I think it's certainly for the archiving. I think I'm just too greedy, so I'm like, oh, this has an Ember Pip. I should probably play it for the Ember instead of discarding it.
Yeah, Shogun and Wethel saying for the archiving probably digging for a jar. Yeah, and he's not in a hurry to make Amber. Yeah, card advantage is better than Amber advantage with Helena. Yeah. All right, CodWag with a Miasma, delaying that forging, hidden stash, Naughty the Thief. Zaramis going into Logos, picking up the cards from the archives, and all is well out in the neighborhood for any worried about dogs that I mentioned.
Yeah, all is well. You said that's good.
All is well. Yes.
Some dogs kind of just bark. It wasn't, as long as it wasn't your cat, then that would have been kind of some troublesome.
I thought I think my wife has or will run out to grab something for part of dinner, and I was afraid there was a critical mass of her being out, the cat getting through a screen, and then a dog.
Oh yes.
There was a worst possible situation in my head. Not nearly as bad as what Zaramis did to CodWag, but.
This is definitely I would say that this is pretty peak Helena at this point as we've come to discover this deck and understand this deck.
The deck that launched 1,000 ships.
And we'll continue launching those ships until the authorities are notified.
Yes. Did that ancient Greece joke work? Was that?
Yeah, I think that was good enough. That was good enough. It's not that cringy.
So CodWag has Forge, getting a couple Amber. Thank you, Blinking Line. Appreciate that. Getting some Amber off of cards here. Desanya and Valen Analyst coming down. Not quite checked for the second key. Nothing on safe place. Eaton's Jar.
It's back.
Happening again. Now that The word of returning has been purged. Picking Nature's Call. Yeah,
there it is. There it is.
Cycling the Nature's Jar. Such a smart play. Such a smart play.
Mind fires the Vigor, and a lot of disc coming down on the board. It seems.
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
Keeping the board clear, reaping. Still behind on Amber, but very much controlling what the game is doing.
Now I see fighting into the is it Desania? To fight Desania, I wonder if that's a setup for a subsequent Infernus, like a potential target, given the value that the auto encoder gives Zaramis.
I think next time an Infernus hits the board, or next time we go Sanctum, we're going to see, as long as CodWag hasn't rotated through, we're going to see Eye of Judgment or something hit that.
Sure.
So Magda Shadow Self, as we've seen before from CodWag, stealing 2, getting them up 2.
Here's a Sanctum turn, yeah.
Yep,
there it is.
Yep, there it is.
So long, farewell.
Any advantage CodWag might have is ending up in that purge pile. Anything they could use to get themselves an edge, even though it is neck and neck. Just looking at Amber and Keys right now, right? But looking at the purge pile, looking at the board state, Zaramis has literally been able to play Eaton's Jar for one thing, purge that thing, play Eaton's Jar again for another thing. This is, this deck takes a lot of skill to play.
Look at that. We did see a Burning Glare played. So maybe Zaramis is switching modes. Maybe they're thinking, I could probably generate some Ember now. That might be okay. Yeah, I have to imagine if you're CodWag, you're thinking through the inevitability of the situation.
Sure.
Which is basically, yep. You may have got me this time. I may have won the previous iterations of this game, but I think you may have got me this time. But also worth noting, I actually didn't realize Helena had 2 Gormavoms. I just thought there was the one.
Oh wow.
But also just worth reiterating, like to clarify. If I were to be playing this deck, I would be losing. Man. I would be 100% losing this game.
I had to go back because it's Zaramis who's never won this matchup.
It is. Yeah.
I had to go check because this is. I mean, it's still even. Like I hope for CodWag's sake, they still have an out, right, to win here. But Zaramis has been playing Helena exactly how we've seen the couple of times beforehand, and it's looking like the game state's being crafted to a point where Helena just has what's this nick? Celrus in a chokehold that they can't get out of.
I am curious how. I mean, obviously we're only seeing this one game between these 2 decks, but I have to imagine that there's a situation where Celrus just moves too quick.
Yes.
It moves too quick, and the Nature's Calls provide enough disruption. Enough disruption in terms of kind of Zaramis's ability to shape their hand and have these big turns that it can win that way. But it doesn't seem like that has happened. It doesn't seem like that has happened here. It's certainly not for lack of effort. CodWag's doing a good job trying to keep things going, but I think this is pretty much all in the hands of Zaramis at such a point as when Zaramis decides to start generating Ember and close out the game.
And still, I think Zaramis is still playing smart by playing cautiously here, right? Because CodWag was able to get to check for that second key, and Zaramis had the tools in hand to kill Magda the Rat, and is now infernusing away a couple things. Lights Out, Vigor, Mindfire hits Nature's Call here, Pandemonium now going to take the other 2 Amber that were on there, and now 12 Amber for Zaramis.
Just like that.
Moving towards the end.
It's just that simple, really.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly also helps when you have two 2 daughters deployed to the board. So in
Yes.
addition to the autoencoder, card advantage, you just have
Playing with an 8-card hand.
Yeah, and it's not like a Howling Pit situation. It's just like only I get to play with an 8-card hand. You don't.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are 15 creatures on Zaramis' side of the board. I just counted. That is completely bonkers. Zaramis forging. Keys cost 8 due to that. I believe there's a Titan mechanic somewhere.
The Mermook
And then
is
the
out.
Mermook,
Yeah.
Titan Engineer, excuse
oh my
me.
gosh! Look at that. There's more daughters. The quad daughters have been deployed.
Do we have the full? We have the full Little Women set up.
Yeah, they are deployed.
We have the full Louisa May Alcott people.
Family reunion on the battle line. Zaramis is in chat now. I was lucky enough to get my artifacts early. Oh, there you go. The Dr. Escatera, the interdimensional graft, the phase shift into
We got to be some amber control.
miasma. It buys a turn.
Okay. Okay.
The Novu Dynamo discards Quixo. And we get another disc turn. There's just a lot. There's a lot of creatures on this board. 3, 9, 12, 15,
yeah, Pandemonium
18.
to just. Yep. Yeah, Pandemonium is so central here. Wow, that's really something.
There's more creatures on the board than there are in a lot of decks.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Literally half of the deck is this battle line.
Yeah.
Over half of the deck is in play.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but...
yeah. Brave Lobster. It's the brave Mermook.
And that's game.
Oh.
That is game. Wow.
Oh my goodness. That is crazy.
Gosh, amazing work, Zaramis. All the prize money going over to Sweden.
Wow.
Some really top talent there. Amazing work from CodWag. Amazing work, Zaramis, from taking down the big one.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
That is crazy.
Absolutely brilliant.